As tragic as fires are, it's so important to learn from them. We have an example today of a fire that hopefully we can take a positive away from and learn a whole lot more about public fire and life safety education. So come on in. This was a fire that occurred, and our response time was 4 minutes to the fire. Fire actually started in the kitchen, so let's head over there now. Believe it or not, this actually used to be a kitchen. There were 4 people in the house at the time. They actually put a pot on the stove which had oil in it. They had a heated pot of oil on the stove and left the kitchen. The fire service says, stand by your pan, watch what you heat. They decided to leave the kitchen to go have a few drinks. So they were drinking while they're cooking, another no-no in the kitchen. So as they were away from the kitchen having a few drinks, the fire occurred on the stove. The smoke alarm notified them to come back to the kitchen, and when they came back to the kitchen, the entire wall was in flames. So this actually used to be cupboards here. You can see the alligatoring here. That's the result of a very hot fire. So when they came upstairs, they attempted to put out the fire by putting a big bag of flour on it, causing the fire obviously to grow a little bigger. They delayed calling 911, preventing the fire department to get here within time to minimize the damage. Because of their delay, the fire was able to vent out the back and take off faster. This isn't Hollywood, this is real life. This fire took off, and you can see the damage it did. The fire also wanted to vent itself, so it vented right out the back door. You can see it, all the alligatoring here and how hot it got. This is actually boarded up now, but this is the back sliding door where the fire vented out, causing the fire to grow and get hotter and hotter. So the occupants that were hanging out in the house were actually in the basement. This is the basement. You can see down here there's very little damage, very little smoke damage. They would have been hanging out here and didn't even know a fire was occurring upstairs until the smoke alarm notified them. So when a fire does occur, it's so important to know how to react to a fire. This is when the fire service says get low and go or crawl under smoke. This is exactly what we're talking about. Look at the smoke line here. If these people got low under the smoke, they were quite safe. If they chose to run out, they would have been breathing toxic fumes. It's so important to get low and go underneath that smoke line. So when we talk about the toxic smoke, this is where it comes from. When the fire burns hot, such as on cushions like this releases toxins up into the air. And one breath of this, you're going down. Another way to protect yourself from the toxic smoke is to get into a bedroom and close the door and hopefully keep the smoke out of the room. You can see from this room actually looks fairly decent. They didn't manage to keep the smoke out of the room here, but this door was closed during the fire and managed to keep the majority of the smoke out. So here's an example of a bedroom where the door was open and allowed the smoke to actually come in. If they had closed the door and kept the smoke out, this room wouldn't be as damaged as it is. You can see the darkness on the walls, melted blinds, quite a bit of damage because the door was open. So this was a simple kitchen fire that could have been prevented and controlled if somebody stayed in the kitchen. It burned so hot, you can see the doors peeling, it's melted the smoke alarms, all the plastic within the house. It even burned so hot, it blew out the front door window to ventilate itself, to keep going. The Barrie Fire and Emergency Service cannot stress enough that when the smoke alarm goes off and you have a fire as dangerous as this one, get out. Do not put yourself at risk. Get out and stay out. Leave this up to the firefighters to put out.